Well, I'm not an alarmist or anything like that. So I just wanted to get a little bit of recent news out there, which you may not have heard about, and that concerns the FDIC. In other words, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which insures the money in your checking account, basically. So this is supposed to be all sound, and your whatever you have in there in your checking or savings account with your bank is supposed to be all insured and everything as well. Well, not everything as well, because the FDIC is running out of money. Now their funds, from what I understand, largely come from the banks themselves. This is not some sort of a taxpayer-funded program. It was set in place to keep certain banks responsible in terms of what they have as far as their cash reserves are concerned, to be able to pay out the money if it's needed to the consumer, up to $250,000. I will post several links here too, actually, and we've had some major banking failures in the last few months, during the last year actually, now amounting to what I believe is 95 bank failures so far, with the big banks, you know, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and so on, being too big to lose anything. So of course they're going to gobble everything up, and they're going to gobble up the failing banks and their remaining assets as well, I suppose. But the alarm bells were rung early on in March of 2009, and because of the tanking stock market and so on, a lot of people tended to think, well, you know, it's okay if I just leave my money in some sort of an account that is FDIC insured up to $250,000. I mean, this sum is too big for me to even think about, but let's just say I have a checking account with $2,000 in it at the beginning of the month, and then once I pay my bills every month, then it goes down to about $30. So it's just, just for the average person. Well, that FDIC insurance is now in big trouble because they can't raise the money from the banks. The banks are actually, the big banks that is, are in trouble. They are protesting against putting more funds into this insurance fund. So if you think your checking or savings account is actually totally secure, you might be mistaken. And this was this article that I'm just reading here from March of 2009, when this was when 35 banks had failed. By now we're up to 95, and the funds in the FDIC are now down 3/4. So they've already paid out 3/4 of what they have in their reserves. So, of course nobody knows what's going to happen, but I probably wouldn't trust too much in the FDIC at this point, especially not if the big banks like JP Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, and all these other huge conglomerates, too big to fail for themselves, to pay out their bonuses for their CEOs every year. If you're going to depend on them to rescue the FDIC insurance fund, you probably are taking a big risk. So I don't know, just wanted to get that out there because the FDIC is in big trouble at this point. Thanks for listening. Good night.